What if working harder is the exact reason you're still broke? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. For decades, people have been told, grind harder, stay later, push through. But what if that mindset is the very thing quietly keeping millions trapped in a cycle of overwork and underpayment? This is the story of someone who flipped the script, not by working more, but by changing how and where they worked. By the end of this video, you'll discover the one shift they made. The shift no one talks about that completely changed their life. Stay until the end, because the most powerful part is revealed last. If you've ever worked hard, followed all the rules, and still felt stuck financially, this story is for you. Smash that like button so YouTube shows this to others trapped in the hustle loop. Subscribe for more powerful mindset and money shifts. And share this with a friend who needs a breakthrough. He was the kind of person every boss loved. First in, last out, always raising his hand, always chasing approval, promotions, and pay raises. He followed the system to the letter, and for years, he got nowhere. While he buried himself in overtime and late-night emails, others, less experienced, less committed, were somehow climbing faster. Eventually, it became clear. Hard work wasn't the problem. The system was. A friend of his inherited a small piece of land, nothing fancy, just a modest plot on the outskirts of town. They listed it through a local auction and made a 25% return. 2 months later, the new owner listed the exact same land on a premium London website. It sold for double the price. Same land, same size, same location. So what changed? The room. It wasn't the product. It was where the product was offered and who was looking at it. That's when he realized he wasn't underpaid because he lacked value. He was underpaid because he was in the wrong market. You'll find out exactly how he changed markets and how you can too in a minute. He stumbled upon something called the Pareto principle, the idea that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your actions. And that changed everything. He started analyzing his work life. Turned out a small fraction of his time, just 1 or 2 hours a day, brought in the majority of his progress, praise, and income. The rest was noise, meetings, reports, tasks that looked productive but went nowhere. So he asked a radical question. If I only had 2 hours to work today, what would I do? That one question shifted everything. He cut out the fluff, focused only on high-impact tasks. And instead of earning less, he earned more. Because he wasn't selling time anymore. He was delivering results. There was a woman he knew, a personal trainer. Before the pandemic, she worked nonstop, gym sessions, home visits, group classes. She was maxed out. No more time equals no more money. Then the world shut down. Clients disappeared. Her income vanished. But instead of giving up, she pivoted. She began creating online content, recorded her workouts, built a simple fitness app that guided people through routines and meals. Slowly, people joined. Then they told friends. Soon, thousands had signed up. She went from trading time to building scalable value. Same skills, more impact, more income. Less work. And that's the secret. Wealth doesn't come from working more. It comes from multiplying value across people, not hours. He used to obsess over preparation. Spent months researching before starting anything new, reading, planning, overanalyzing. But deep down, he wasn't moving forward. He was stuck in the motion trap, the illusion of progress without real action. It felt safe, but it kept him broke. So he created a rule for himself. Whenever a new idea came up, he would set an action date, a firm deadline to move from thinking to doing. And once he did, momentum followed. You don't learn by preparing forever. You learn by stepping into the unknown, with a date and a decision. Remember the story about the auction? Here's how he applied it to his own life. He stopped begging his current job to pay more. Instead, he looked for industries and clients that already valued the skills he had. Same experience. Same work, but because he changed the room, he changed the reward. You might not need a new skill. You might just need a new audience. There's a quote. The captain commands, but the rowers steer. If you're always rowing, buried in daily tasks, you'll never know if the ship is headed in the right direction. That was his problem. Until he stepped back and became the captain. He started thinking bigger, hired help where he lacked skill, focused on vision, not just execution. And that shift, it allowed him to double his income without doubling his hours. Here's what his story teaches us. You're not lazy for wanting to work less. You're not underpaid because you're not smart. And you don't need more hustle. You need more clarity. Stop measuring your worth by the clock. Start measuring it by the value you create and who you create it for. Because real freedom doesn't come from exhaustion. It comes from intentional action, strategic thinking, and switching rooms. If this opened your eyes, give the video a like so more people can escape the grind. Subscribe for more transformational stories and money truths they don't teach in school. And drop a comment below. What's your biggest takeaway from this story? Remember this, success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, for the right people, in the right place. And now that you know, what will you do differently tomorrow?